fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. Everybody has a story about a time when they put their tongue on a frozen metal pole. Either it happened to a friend, a family member. It wouldn't have happened to you, would it? Probably not. You're not that crazy. This is my tongue on a frozen metal pole story. I grew up on a farm in Fairview, Wyoming. I loved living on the farm. The animals, the fresh air, working with my dad, it was all very rewarding. There is one thing, however, that cannot be sugarcoated, and that's how cold it gets in the winter. For months, the high is 20 below zero. That's as warm as it gets. It doesn't get any warmer for months. Every year, as the temperature changes, kids in my school would dare each other to put your tongue on a frozen metal pole and see what happens. Maybe the swing sets, maybe the hand railings. They say, go over there and see what happens. As far as I knew, nobody had ever done it because everybody knew that your tongue would freeze to the frozen metal pole. But again, I didn't know anybody who had tried it, and nobody I knew anybody that had tried it either. It could be just an urban legend. I didn't know. As I said before, I grew up on a farm. And when you are on a farm, there are tons of jobs. Everybody has chores. My main responsibility was to feed the cows and pigs, which took me a couple hours, and in the winter time, I would finish after dark. And the long walk from the barn to the house was pretty scary. There were moose that were always nearby. And if you've ever been close to a moose, it's scary. They're tall, and they're not very smart. And they don't see really well. And in my 10-year-old mind, I could totally imagine a moose trying to trample me for no good reason. It also was not unheard of for coyotes to be seen. These are all plenty of reasons for a 10-year-old boy to be scared. Plus, I was kind of afraid of the dark. On this particular night, as I was walking from the barn to the house through the corral, I noticed the metal gate. I had passed by that metal gate hundreds of times, never caught my interest. On this particular night, however, it seemed to shine. It glowed. There was a spotlight from heaven shining down on this gate. And I thought, tonight's the night when I put to the test what has been playground lore my entire life. I don't remember walking to the gate. It was as if I was pulled, drawn in by some unseen power. As I was leaning forward, my tongue extending, I thought, whoa, Dave, not a good idea. Don't do it. I ignored that, and I pressed my tongue firmly to that metal gate, and I waited for a few seconds. Because if I was going to do it, I'm going to do it right. And then I pulled away, My tongue did not come with me. Aha! I thought, it's true! And then I thought, I'm not in a good situation. And the satisfaction of discovery was short-lived, as I realized I'm hungry. I'm cold. My tongue is frozen to a filthy, disgusting metal gate. And all of a sudden, I have to use the bathroom. I'm also afraid of the dark. I'm not in a good situation. With all the legerity I could muster, I considered my options. I knew my mom would become concerned at some point, but I'm from a really big family, and there's no telling how long it would take for my mom to realize I'm not there. Plus, I was one of the biggest noise makers in my family. She might enjoy not having me there. So I took a deep breath, knowing there was just one thing I could do. I took a deep breath and I pulled away from that metal gate hard. I left a little bit of me that night in the corral, and tears were shed. The pain, however, was short-lived as I healed quickly. It was hard to eat for a while, but nobody ever knew. But as I drive around town now, I see metal poles on swing sets and iron hand railings, and I think to myself, would my tongue stick to that? Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.